So tell me your name and where you're from and what you're majoring in.
Okay, my name's Philip Cortez. I'm a senior from Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm double majoring in classical studies and political science, and in the classics I've got a concentration in Latin, and I also have a minor in French.
Latin? Come on, why? This is 21st century Latin. Nobody speaks Latin. Why are you taking Latin?
Well, I mean, I think for me the thing about classics is that it's interesting to read sort of some of these great authors and things that have influenced Western tradition in the original context. I'm reading Cicero this semester, and also I think it's a really good intellectual workout that sort of informs my other avenues of study.
But Philip, how is that going to get you a job, man? Come on, why would you take that?
I think
Aren't your
people
parents,
that are
your parents must be terrified.
Yeah, but people that are well educated are attractive to people that are giving out jobs. I mean, you know, a successful classics curriculum shows that you have the ability to sit down and translate for hours at a time and follow through on your work. And so, you know, it develops skills that I think are beneficial in several different jobs.
That's great. It's interesting and a fun way to look at it.
Yeah.
So where are we now?
Okay, right now we're in the Bowl. It's sort of the central hub of campus, both in an official way and in an unofficial way. It's not uncommon in the spring for students to come out here and do their homework or play guitar and things like that. Frisbee's also really common here. It sort of begins and ends a student's career here at Millsaps. On the fourth night that freshmen are here, there's a ceremony called the Fourth Night Student in which they formally introduce themselves to the campus community here in the Bowl, and that bookends their experience with commencement, which also happens here in the Bowl. So it's a sort of a neat way to commemorate your experience by beginning it and ending it here.
Well, this is January. It must be actually absolutely spectacular in the spring.
It's really beautiful in the spring.
So where are we now, Philip?
Okay, the building behind me is Johnstone House, and the first floor of that is the Writing Center. At Millsaps, we have a writing across the curriculum, which means that beginning with the first class of the core curriculum, which is called Introduction to Thinking and Writing, students are encouraged to write a lot, and they compose a writing portfolio that at the end of their sophomore year is assessed. You have to pass a certain writing proficiency, which is a graduation requirement. So there are writing components to most of the core classes, even in the sciences and the maths. And there's also at the Writing Center, there are 2 full-time professors whose jobs it are to sort of facilitate that writing across the curriculum. And they're also student tutors, which it's an on-campus job that students of any major can choose to have. And they have sort of tutoring hours when students can go and get helped with theses and stuff. And their professors are notified of that to know that they're sort of on track and working towards their projects.
Cool. Why is writing important?
Well, I mean, I think it's part of our liberal arts approach in the sense that what's the point of being educated if you can't communicate by writing? I mean, the point of writing is to communicate, and so if we're not able to communicate what we're learning, then there's really no purpose to learn it.
Yeah, but with Twitter and blogs and YouTube and all this, I mean, why do students need to learn how to write well?
I mean, again, I think it goes back to being well educated and just sort of showing that our degree is worth something. I want to be able to write well, and I want to appear educated for my degree.
What's on the top floor of this building?
The top floor is the classical studies department.
Ah, that's where the Latin geeks hang out.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, just checking. What's over here? Tell me what's we're looking at over here. I hear all the construction noise.
These are the construction of our 3 new dorms. They're Charles, Susanna, and John Hall. There'll be series of single-room suites where each resident has a double bed and a vanity and a desk and a room to themselves, and they'll share bathroom space. There'll also be community rooms and a kitchen in each building, as well as a laundry room. So they're going to be sort of our top of the end housing for juniors and seniors.
Cool. So it's a campus on the move, looks like.
Exactly.
Neat. So here at Millsaps, we have about 50% of the students are in fraternities and sororities. Why? This is a smaller place, 1,200 students or so. Mm-hmm. What's different about the fraternity and sorority life here than, say, at Louisiana State?
Sure. Well, since we only have about 1,000 students, I think all of the Greek organizations are a little bit more inclusive because they have to be in some ways, but also because there's sort of this cultural history here of having a strong influence of both academic programming and service-oriented programming. And so all the fraternities and sororities have really strong philanthropies. People join for that option to have a way to get in with local organizations and things like that. So I think like those draw people into the system that at larger state schools wouldn't necessarily go Greek. And it also just sort of facilitates social life on campus for some people in ways that are beneficial. And I mean, there are still parties and things like that, but the other focuses, I think, allow people to have meaningful peer relationships in the context of something that's not necessarily as, well-intentioned at other places.
So the parties are maybe not as wild at some place like Millsaps? I mean, I'm sure there are parties.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, they certainly happen, but I think they're put in a better context of, work hard first and then we'll celebrate our victories and our successes as opposed to just celebrating anything.
Well, and it sounds like you were saying also it's a matter of contribution.
Right. Oh, no, exactly.
And involvement.
Yeah,
so
sure,
it's
definitely.
An avenue to channel that kind of engagement in the community,
right.
However defined.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So where are we now, Philip?
Right now we're in the plaza. It's a really popular place for campus events. Fraternities and sororities host their philanthropies here. It's also popular for tailgating during football season. You can sort of see the football stadium in the background.
Oh yeah, the purple.
Yeah, and our football team has been doing really well. The past 3 years we've been SCAC champions, and this year our quarterback, for the first time ever for a D3 player, received the highest award that a football player in Mississippi can get. It's a pretty big deal. So,
cool. So sports are a big deal. I mean, spectating and participating both?
Yeah, they're popular. Students can go to all sporting events for free, and our coaches in the past few years have really worked at recruiting students who can maintain their academics at a school like Millsaps, but also be successful on the field. So,
neat. So Philip, kids are looking at different colleges, families are looking at different colleges. What are the things that are the most important about Millsaps, do you think, that I ought to be telling my clients and the other people I work with?
Sure. I think for me, the two most important things about my Millsaps experience have been the faculty involvement. In both my academic disciplines, I've had really in-depth research experience with professors, and professors have taken an interest in me as a student and as a person. And also just the community feel of the campus. Everyone's very inviting and friendly. It's really easy to make friends and have lasting relationships in a real way that I think has been really special for me.
That's why did it show up on your list? When you were thinking back to when you were a high school senior trying to figure out where you wanted to go, why did Millsaps show up on your list? And then why did it become your choice?
Okay. Well, I think sort of staying in the South was important to me in some ways. And I was in a small gifted program at a large high school, and so the small interactive feel, the appeal to the liberal arts and sort of being educated versus trained really appealed to me. And then upon visiting, it just made sense. I mean, the feel of the campus and the people that I met and how welcoming they were is really what drew me in. What
other schools were you thinking about when you were looking at?
Oh gosh, I mean, I looked at most schools in Louisiana, state schools and private schools. Tulane, Loyola in New Orleans, the University of Louisiana, Louisiana State University, and then I looked at other small schools like this, Rhodes, Spring Hill College, places like that.
But this was the one who won your heart and
your
mind too.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I just finished my day here at Millsaps College, and boy, I love this place. I really had a great visit. The people at the admissions office pulled out the stops, but one of the greatest things was really talking to the students and talking to a faculty member who was not at all set up. He just volunteered. I ended up at his office serendipitously. And, it's very clear that the kind of education that they provide here at Millsaps is top-notch, that it really is a super friendly place. I think for a kid who is looking for a quality liberal arts education, maybe who hasn't performed at the very top of their class in high school, would definitely do well here, because they would get all this nurturing and support and really solid education that these professors who are very committed to to the educational enterprise. And you know, as a kid who grew up in Colorado, who's lived in the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, I think this is totally a cool place. I mean, this is Mississippi. This is like going to a completely different environment where everybody is super friendly. And I mean, I'm really impressed. I didn't think that I was going to have as great a visit as I did here at Millsaps, but all the hullabaloo from the FISC guide and from the colleges that change lives, I was really borne out by my visit, and I'm really glad I came. It's terrific.